Welcome to the DIY3DTech.com channel.
Welcome to this edition of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, we're going to do a brief video on installing Cura for the Wanhao i3 Duplicator 3D printer. So one of the things that when you get your Wanhao, if you watch the unboxing video I did, you can find that in the Wanhao playlist, which I'll link below. In it comes a micro SD card. Now the interesting thing is mine comes in its original commercial packaging, and I thought it was just going to be a blank card, and I was sort of expecting something on there, but because it was in the standard commercial packaging, I thought something was screwed up. But once I opened the packaging, there was something on the card, and basically what was on the card is what you see here. So there's a version of Cura 1407, the OK file G code, basically first run experience, and then unboxing and hardware setup is on that card. So so they do give you Cura on the card, but one of the things is, you notice this is 14.07. The current version is 15.04. So one of the things I did is I obviously wanted to install and set up Cura. So what I did is, instead of using what was on the card, I went to the website. Now this link will be on the resource page for the Wanhao site. So Wanhao 3D printer, and it's Wanhao. It's www.wanhao3dprinter.com down show article blah blah blah. You can see it up here, but again, I'll put a link to it on the website, so on the resource page, so you can get here. So on here they have the different versions of instructions too. Now one of the interesting things is I noticed they have A and B revision of the user manual. I'm stuttering here. Sorry about that. However, the most current version, which is out on the web, and I have a copy of it, and again on the resource page, is version C. Let me see if I can find it here. Yes, Duplicator i3 user manual version C, which is a more updated version than either A or B. So again, there'll be a link on the Wanhao resource page, which will right here give you a copy of the Wanhao C version of the manual, and also take you to that resource page. So on that resource page, if you scroll down, you'll see that there's Cura 1.5 and then 14.12. I suggest doing the Cura 15.04 to get the most current one. So I've already downloaded it. Also, I'm not sure if they they have it for the Mac and the PC. So the first two are for the PC. 5.02 is for the Mac. And then it has some information here on configuring and startup, and that's basically what we'll go over the videos, help explain that a little bit better, because it's a little bit confusing. So I've already downloaded 15.04, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start that for my installation, and might take a second here. So okay, so now that it's started up, it's asking for a startup location, and so we're just going to say next, accept the default. Now when we get to this screen, choose components, we're going to select, unless you're an advanced user, select OBJ and AMF files, also in addition to STL, and you also want to install the Arduino drivers, which comes default, by the way, just mentioning it. So I'm going to click install. It'll take a minute to load all the libraries, if you will, and they'll load onto your machine. And I notice a combination of a lot of Python libraries as well as some C++ libraries for the Windows version. And if you can't tell, obviously I'm installing the Windows version here. I haven't tried the Mac version. I do have a Mac, but I haven't installed it on there yet. So it doesn't take too long to install, And now we're gonna start installing the drivers. So we're gonna always trust software, so we're gonna let it install the drivers. It may take a minute or two to complete installing the drivers. I may speed some of this up in the post-production video. Okay, so the Arduino is now installed, so we can click Finish there. We're completed here. We're going to click Next over here, and then we're going to tell it to start Cura. So Cura will start up in a minute. And this is probably the key point, is after Cura starts up, doing the base configuration, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's taken a while for the configuration wizard to come up. Okay, now that the configuration wizard is up, we're going to select English and select your preferred language. And then we're going to select Other. So example, RepRap, MakerBot, etc. And then we're going to click Perusa Mendel i3. And then we're going to click Next. And then we're going to click Finish. And basically that does the basis of installation. Now, there is another parameter inside of Cura that I want to point out once Cura starts. So now with Cura installed, one of the first things we have to do is modify this filament diameter to 1.75. If you don't do this, you'll have no end of grief. So update that and you should be pretty set. You might want to also kind of watch the flow control. You might want to bump this up. I typically use a little bit higher value, but start out at the 100 and see how it goes. I usually change it to like 100.5, you know, to push a little bit extra flow, just to compensate for drag. But that's again up to you. So pretty much we're set here, and so we're gonna load a model, and we're gonna see how this goes. So basically we're gonna go in here and we're gonna pick this multi-mount model, and we're gonna click open, and so we now have the model inside of Cura. And so basically what we're going to do is, I like to set with Hatchbox PLA filament, I like to go at 200 with a bed temperature of 45. And so pretty much we are set. We have the part in there, and then we click the SD card. We select drive I in this case. We click OK, and you'll notice it saved it out to the card. And then down here it shows we've put on card, saved on drive I, multi-mount. And you're now ready to take that card and put it into the Wanhao printer and print your parts out. And actually, in the next video, we'll take a quick look at this. We'll do a little bit of a time lapse, and we'll see how it comes out. Just while in this video, I want to point out one other thing. Is expert mode. So open expert settings. So as you get more into this, you might want to make some expert adjustments. One of the things I'd like to do is change skirt to 2 from 1. The reason for this is I'd like to push out a little bit extra filament before we get started. Just if there's any type of burning inside the nozzle or anything, it just kind of cleans it out a little bit. At least that's my opinion, and gives a little bit more flow for everything to get going. Especially if you're doing a smaller part, the skirt can be rather small, and so this just makes sure that there's enough. Uses a little bit extra plastic, but I think it's well worth it. Pretty much everything else I think you can leave the same. as it is, and there's no issues. I've been printing with this various configuration as this with no issues. The one thing you might want to keep an eye on is retraction. You might want to up the retraction. The pieces is I've noticed with mine, retraction is falling a little bit short of where I'd like it to be, but I'm letting it run out some filament. It's rather new, and before making the adjustment. But this is obviously right here where you can make the adjustment to retraction quality. So anyways, hopefully this video helped you out. And again, there's a lot of resources on the internet for Cura. I just wanted to go through the specific things for the Wanhao. So it was easy for you guys to set it up if you're interested in one. Seems to work really well. Been happy with the quality I'm getting out of it. And again, in the next video, I'll share some of that. So cheers, and we'll